in the Horn of Africa region, where 12 people were killed in the Somali capital of Mogadishu early on Sunday morning. This after 2 bombs ripped through a hotel. Police were forced to fight back against the Islamist Al-Shabaab gunmen who stormed the building. Al-Shabaab, which has frequently launched terror attacks in Mogadishu in its bid to topple the Western-backed government, said it was behind the assault on the Sahafi Hotel, where government officials and lawmakers usually stay. The incident mirrored tactics used before by Al-Shabaab, in which it detonates bombs to break through security at targeted buildings and then sends in fighters. Police were still exchanging fire with attackers inside the hotel about 2 hours after the assault began. Well, CCTV's Abdulaziz Billo joins us now live from Mogadishu with the latest on this attack. Abdulaziz, we understand that the siege itself has ended and that perhaps some senior officials are among those killed in this early morning attack. What more can you tell us?
Well, Lydia, just as you've said, the siege ended at around 11 a.m. Somalia time. Now, the government has not yet issued any official response or official number of people who might have lost their lives in the deadly attack today on Hotel Sahafi that the Al-Shabaab has already claimed responsibility for. But shortly before we came to this live bulletin, the spokesman of the Ministry of National Security said that this attack was different from the previous attacks that the Al-Shabaab carried out in Somalia all across the country. Basically, what the spokesman said, Mohammed Yusuf, said that the 6 of the attackers who were all killed by the Somali Special Forces were dressed in uniform that is used by the African Union peacekeeping force that is known as AMISOM. So this was not the usual Al-Shabaab attack on a key hotel in Somalia. That is the confirmation that we have from the the spokesman rather of the Ministry of National Security. So like you've said, the attackers began the attack at around 6 a.m. Somalia time. They detonated a vehicle right outside the entrance of Sahafi Hotel that houses ministers, members of parliament, the diaspora, and senior officials of the Ministry of National Security and the Somali army. Right after they exploded, 6 of the attackers entered the building and started shooting people indiscriminately. Now, after the attack, to continue with the attack, after they entered the hotel, they started shooting people indiscriminately. 2 senior officials have been confirmed dead so far. One of them is a senior member of parliament known as Abdi Abtidon, who was an influential member of parliament. The second person who was also influential is former General Abdirisaq Degabadan. Now, General Abdirisaq Degabadan was a former Somali army commander who led the efforts of dislodging the Al-Shabaab in the capital, Mogadishu, and he also relentlessly pushed the Al-Shabaab out of key towns in South and Central Somalia. So those are the 2 senior officials who have been confirmed dead so far. One photojournalist also died in the attack, but the official number of dead people we have from the hospital and from reliable sources is 12.
Well, of course, Abdulaziz, it's attacks like these that remind us that terrorism certainly does not discriminate. Now, one has to wonder to what extent people are concerned with regards to government's hold on security in Somalia. What are authorities saying and what response are we likely to see?
Well, authorities here in Mogadishu are saying that attacks on hotels and attacks by Al-Shabaab on specific areas remain isolated cases, and that the country is peaceful and it's under the control, most of the country is peaceful and is under the control of the Somali government and the African Union peacekeepers. But since July, we've witnessed deadly attacks on a number of hotels in Mogadishu. We've witnessed a deadly attack on Hotel Makkah Al-Mukarramah, where the top UN envoy to Somalia, the top Somali envoy to the United Nations, Yusuf Baribari, was killed in that attack. We have witnessed another deadly attack on August on Jazeera Hotel that is next to the country's international airport and housed a number of foreign embassies rather. We've witnessed also a number of deadly attacks on hotels that are in close proximity to the country's presidential palace. Most recently, we witnessed one deadly attack on Hotel SYL where government officials reside and was opposite the presidential palace. Now, authorities in Mogadishu saying that they are increased security all across the country. Most recently, also the police commissioner named a new chief of police for the Banadi region, that is the Mogadishu area, to help to lead the efforts rather in thwarting Al-Shabaab attacks on key hotels and other areas of the country. But indeed, the people in Mogadishu, mostly the diaspora, the ministers, the members of parliament, have constantly come under attack on these hotels. Now, these hotels normally house members of parliament, security forces, ministers who feel that they are much safer in the hotels than residing outside in other areas. So basically, the government is really challenged in ensuring that security of hotels are increased to prevent future attacks.
We'll have to leave it there, but thank you very much for that update. Abdulaziz Bilo, live for us there in Mogadishu in Somalia.